As many as 19,000 people in Utah die each year, and the Lieutenant Governor's office is supposed to be notified of each of those deaths in order to accurately maintain the Utah voter registration database. After the KSL investigators started asking questions, we learned they were missing reports of almost 100 deaths. Each day, Merlin Brewer does what she can for a friend.
And so we just pick up the mail so that if there's anything important that comes, we can make sure it gets handled.
Merlin's act of kindness is for an old neighbor, Linda, who lost her husband in January.
Ray has been gone for several months, and Linda is got some dementia and some health issues. Got the return envelope.
Imagine her surprise when, more than 8 months after the man's death, Ray received a ballot in the mail.
It was like, wow, I would assume, and maybe that's an incorrect assumption, that they wouldn't be sending out official ballots for deceased people.
Some serious hocus pocus.
Where did Salt Lake County miss this? Was it an oversight?
After spending a week asking questions of the county and state, KSL investigators uncovered a human error unknown to any of the agencies until we got involved. But it wasn't at the county clerk's level.
So my staff on an ongoing basis have an assignment to go through obituaries and check.
Ray didn't have an obituary, but his death was one of more than 770 in January this year in Salt Lake County alone. The same county that sent the ballot is stamped on his death certificate. It's also the same county that acknowledged his body was donated to the University of Utah for science. This time, the state was to blame.
With any human process, there's, a possibility that human error occurs.
The Department of Health's Office of Vital Records and Statistics specifically.
We send records of deaths to the Lieutenant Governor's office every other week so that they can scrub essentially the individuals who've passed away in the past several weeks from the voter registry database.
The employee responsible for the file transfer missed a few days.
So the Lieutenant Governor's office did not get from us information on deaths that occurred on the 29th, the 30th, or the 31st of January from this year.
Ray died on January 29th. He was one of 91 people whose deaths weren't reported to the election office. And after doing their own digging, that office says none of those people have voted.
A ballot going out is one thing, but an actual ballot being cast is something entirely different.
Regardless, Brewer says the fact that ballots were sent out to dead people at all is a problem.
If I decide to open Ray's ballot and vote for him and sign his name, is that going to go through or not?
Salt Lake County Clerk Sherry Swenson says Brewer shouldn't be concerned about voter fraud.
The fail-safe is we check signatures. We verify a signature for every ballot before we accept it.
And it's a felony if someone forges that signature. The Lieutenant Governor's office tells me many of the 91 people were not sent a ballot because they'd already been removed from the voter rolls or were not registered to vote. Again, so far, not a single voter on that list had voted, meaning no one tried to submit a fraudulent ballot. So what is the next step? We're told that the counties will process those remaining names and clean up their lists, and that's all thanks to this investigation.
Yeah, that's great. And good thing no one tried to take advantage of it, right?
Exactly, absolutely.
We have good people here in the state. All right. Thanks, Brittany. Thanks.